When I see golfers struggling with their distance control or their quality of strike, it tends to be these faults. Either too long in the backswing, too short in the follow through, or we see a very short movement going back and then a lot of speed to a long finish position. So you'll have seen there, I actually got a better result from the shorter to longer because at least there was some acceleration through the shot. The long backswing to the short follow through, I actually flew too far over the green, but neither were very good distance control considering I'm going to the back flag there. So what I would like to see, let's talk about it in its simplest terms, is really matching swing length. So we want to see something pretty similar back to pretty similar through. We don't want to see short to long, we don't want to see long to short. Many golfers are making this very short cut-off finish position, and when that happens, they're generally doing what I did there. We're seeing this big divot. We're not using the bounce of the golf club, we're not using the loft, we're definitely digging. Now, I actually managed to dig, but I did hit the ball first, hence it went too far. If I'd caught the ground a little bit before the ball, I'd probably put it in the water just in front of me, and again, that's something I see quite regularly. So we often see this short finish position where the hands are leading forwards. That's really taking the loft off the golf club and starting to go in this front digging edge. Definitely not what we want to see. The shorter to longer, I guess the good news is there's acceleration through, and with the short backswing, we're probably not going to hit the ball too far unless we thin it. Right, unless we're struggling with contact. Now, I did a reasonable job at it, so shorter to longer is better than perhaps the alternative, but I often see this real rush of speed. So let's aim for matching swing length, and let's do it through tempo. So what you may not have realized, in a normal full iron swing, 3 parts of the golf swing should be swinging back. 1 part should be the downswing to impact. Let's forget the follow through just for a second. So it should be 3 parts going back, 1 part coming down, meaning this takes 3 times longer than that takes. Okay, so if your whole golf swing to impact was 1 second, would be 3/4 of the second going back and 1/4 of the second coming down into impact. Now with short games, so less than full swings, it actually should be 2 to 1. So 2 parts going back, 1 part coming down to impact. But I don't like golfers thinking about stopping here, because again, we get that short finish. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to count. I want you to go 1 second into the backswing. The second is going to be to the finish position. And what that means is I was 1 second going back, half a second you would think down into impact, and then another half a second to the finish. So if I was counting 1, 2, 2 would be the finish. 1, 2. Now you could train just by simply using a metronome, and you can download a free app on your smartphone with electronic metronome, set it to about 60 beats per minute, obviously 1 a second, get 1 tick into the backswing, 1 tick into the follow through. Great way to practice. But on the course, something you could use is just that counting 1, 2. Very simple video, but if you can get this right, it's really going to help your game. So 1, 2. And hopefully, I mean, that looks great. Yeah, perfect. Shallow divot. I've got some of it on my face, not a deep divot, which tells me at impact my hands were more level with the golf club, not driving forwards. And that's just because I'm smooth tempo, matching swing length, not driving my handle in. Hopefully from the face on angle, you'll have seen a similar swing length back, similar swing length through, and quite a smooth tempo. So we're going to do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2. And from this face on angle, in an ideal world, you want to aim with most pitch shots to return with your hands about level with the golf club. They may be a little bit forwards, we're not aiming for a lot forwards. Golfers who tend to hands a long way forwards, they're driving their handle forwards this way. And again, it tends to be poor rhythm that's causing that. There tends to be that rush with the hands and they're driving and getting the hands forwards. Now, when would I want my hands a little bit more forwards pitching? Well, if this was a hard, firm, tight lie, or I wanted a lower driven in shot, potentially even if the ball was down in the grass a little bit more, I might create some more shaft lean. But if we've got a lusher lie, a softer lie, grass under the golf ball, we really want to utilize that loft and bounce and get the club skimming correctly. So let's hit one more here, see if I can hit it as good as that one. I'm not going to talk really about setup too much. I have done it plenty of times. So what I will do instead is I'll put a link just here that I think is well worth talking or looking at least, to really talk through the setup changes with a pitch and the difference between chipping and pitching, which confuses a lot of golfers. So, smooth rhythm, counting 1, 2. 1, 2. That might be a yard or two short. It might struggle to get up the hill. Stay there. Nearly. That wasn't far off. Strike still felt okay. Rhythm felt okay. It was a couple of yards short. So I would have to increase my swing length. I think always look at focusing on where do you want the ball to land. Try and forget the flag, pick that landing area, make some practice swings focusing on that rhythm, and try and match it to how far you want to hit the golf ball. Trust yourself. Your first instinct is probably the right one. A lot of golfers, they're struggling with swing length because they don't trust it. Make your practice swings, looking at where you want to land it, visualize the shot, and just try and do some simple counting for me. I think if you can get better rhythm, match the swing length, it's really going to transform your short game.